Quality over quantity. If you take nothing from this video, know that you will get much further in life and feel like you're making more of an impact in life if you create, do things, inspire with quality in mind, with a goal in mind, versus just putting out whatever just to say that you have 100 videos, just to say that, you have 100 of these things that do nothing really for you. So to break that down a little bit more, I know I have not posted consistently on YouTube, but it's because sometimes I don't feel like I have really anything to say. Life has to happen first in order for me to talk about my personal experiences and how I ended up taking it, or what method helped me, even though I wanted to do something different, even though I thought differently. I'm all about self-improvement. I'm all about being the best version of yourself and actively trying to get there 1% better every day. But something can't happen to you every day. Some days it's just a regular day and it's not really anything that you want to speak to. And I think sometimes the lines can get blurred, especially wanting to be a content creator or being a content creator, because you feel like you just have to make content. You just have to consistently make videos or you'll fizzle out. You have to have the mindset that the right people, the people that need to see what you're going to create, will always see it at the time that they're supposed to. Sometimes you can create a series of videos and people don't see it for 2-3 years because it's just not the trend, or it's just not something that's commonly talked about, which is why it's important that the quality of content, and not just content, this applies to everything: career, relationships, friendships, decisions. You have to make sure that the quality is there through the need and want that you have for it. So let me break that down. If you have a desire to be a content creator, let's just keep that all in one genre right now. If you have a desire to be a content creator, but you don't really know what your niche is, you don't know what you want to do you want to do fashion? Do you want to do self-improvement? Do you want to do workout videos? You don't know yet. And so you just create an abundance of videos, and sure, some will pop off and some won't. I think when you have a clear vision in mind of what you want to do and kind of what you want to be known for in that season, because we change every single day. You could wake up a year from now and not want to do the niche content that you're doing, and that is completely okay. You're able to change that. When you don't have a clear vision in mind, it's harder for you to see where you're going because there's so many directions that it could go. You can take so many different paths and end up on a successful track on each of them. But if you give only a percentage to 5 things instead of maybe one specific thing that could grow tenfold, it can make it really discouraging to want to continue going on that path, because you think to yourself, well, sometimes they pop off, sometimes they don't, so maybe this isn't for me. Most times you just have to figure out what really is speaking to you, and then the right audience comes to you. Prime example, I didn't create this podcast hoping that it would blow up or go anywhere. Literally how this podcast formed was I was on the phone with my cousin. I was on FaceTime with her, and it was just a thought. I literally said to her, I think I'm going to create a podcast, because I think for the longest time I wanted to create a podcast with somebody else, because I had seen on TikTok or on social media in general that most of the time, if you have other people in your content, you have different perspectives and people can relate to different people. Then I realized none of my friends or family or people that I know really want to either A, create the content that I want to create, or B, want to create content at all. And so I realized, why not just do it myself? I have enough, belief and enough energy and love towards myself to see where this could go. So why not? And then literally 3 months later, I've only had the podcast up since September, maybe 4 months now. We're in January. And it just goes to show that I had a clear vision in mind that I just wanted to create a podcast. Once I had a clear vision of self-improvement, being a better version of yourself, talking about life as real as it comes, as to the best of my ability, because I'm only one person, I'm one perspective, and I always disclaim on most of my videos lately to take what I say with a grain of salt, because I'm not the end all be all, and someone could tell you something similarly but have a different perspective of how the result could go. So it's just being open to life. And what I've learned recently is if you hear something consistently from different people, over time, maybe that's something that you should evaluate about yourself or about your situation or your environment, next decision, next move, because essentially that's something that people are seeing in common. And it may not be something that you want to do or have seen, but it's worth kind of taking a look into and seeing like, why are people saying this? Or is this something worth my energy? Even if you may not feel like it is. Entertain it for, a week or two. And if it's just not something for you, or it's not a path that you want to go down, that's the decision that you made. But at least you can say that you decided to consider the thoughts and opinions and evaluations of others. So going back to quality over quantity. On the latter half of that, it is great if you can put out content or put out whatever in large amounts of quantity in a short amount of time. But if you start feeling like, dang, I just don't really think this is getting anywhere, don't even know why I'm doing this, I have no love for it. Maybe that's when you should evaluate, okay, so what exactly do I want to do? Even if that means doing it once a month or once a week or, a couple times a week versus every day. I intentionally started this podcast, even though I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do with it. I intentionally started it saying I wanted to be as real as possible on it. I didn't want to get sucked into the thoughts of social media just because the numbers were growing. Because before this podcast, I actually still do have my own personal TikTok page where I have about the same amount of followers right now with where the podcast is at. And when it first happened in 2020, I had really lost sight of what I wanted to do. And I had thought to myself, am I doing it just because I know that the numbers are growing and that I could make money and all this stuff? Or am I doing it because I actually like doing it? And for a while, my creativity overall had just felt burnt out. I felt really forced to make content, and I just stopped altogether. And I had got back on track, started working out, really diving deep into the person that I wanted to become, because I never want what I do to be who I am. I want it to be a part of who I am, but I never want it to be all of me. Because what happens if social media decides to just fizzle out? Instagram could delete tomorrow. I don't know if that's true or not. But essentially the point I'm trying to make is that anything can happen. And so who I want to be known for is someone that is intentionally just trying to be a better version of themselves, but also, being honest about where I'm at with my faith and how the ups and downs, it happens to people that you see on TikTok and YouTube and all these social media platforms. And then it happens to people that are nowhere to be found on social media. So just being able to really speak on some things that people may feel like isn't relatable, but is relatable once they hear other people that they know and, follow on social media talk about. I think it's easy to get sucked into this whole thought that, oh my gosh, Party of One podcast, their numbers are growing, they're doing great, but that's work. But that's the thing. I love what I do. I love that I get to sit down and record content and that you guys feel a sense of relatability to it, or you want to do something different in your week because of something that, God instilled in me to put on camera. I feel like I'm a part of a purpose that's bigger than myself. Even if I'm the only one doing it right now, I feel like I'm helping a lot of people through my videos, and I hope that it reaches and reads that way. I am not perfect, and I will never always, I can promise you right now, I will not always get it right. Sometimes things that I thought were right may not be. Based on my own personal life experiences, that's what works for me and what doesn't work for me. But you have to evaluate your own life and think about the kind of person that you want to become. And throughout your journey, when you meet creators like myself, or you meet different people in your daily life, or through work, or through relationships, or through family, piece by piece, you start recognizing the kind of person you do want to become. And sometimes it's by seeing people you don't want to become like that make you realize, okay, I don't know exactly who I want to be, but I know exactly who I don't want to be. And that's okay too. So I think the whole point over quality over quantity is to make sure that everything that you do in life, make sure you have a purpose attached to it, because the quality of that determines the kind of person that you will become, or the kind of person that you'll become to others. Because sometimes you're serving a greater group of people and you don't even know it. So it's important to always just be kind. And when you don't feel like being kind, because again, we're human, it's best to just be quiet. That I think is the biggest thing, the biggest lesson that I learned last year is that everything doesn't have to be spoken on. If you know, if you know you did the right thing, if you know you did the best to your ability, that's all you can be left with. It was an experience and it happened. So don't beat yourself up about it because you wish it would have turned out differently, or it didn't turn out how you thought, or it could have turned out better. This is a new time and a new chance and a new opportunity for you to be the most of what you see yourself. And if you don't even see yourself outside of who you are now, this is the best time to start thinking about, who do I want to be this time next year? You have a whole year to build them out. And the next year, we're going to do it all over again. So have an amazing rest of your week. I'm going to continue trying to post on here Mondays and Fridays. I like to start the week and end the week with a good word, especially having, videos over 10 minutes. I like to make sure that it's filled with something that you can leave this video feeling like, I'm leaving this video better than I entered it, and I'm grateful. So that's always going to be my intention with these videos, whether through TikTok or YouTube or the podcast platform in the future. And I'm grateful again that all of you guys, are just here to support, what I have to say. I give all the glory to God. I give thanks to him for the wisdom that he instills in me. Again, I'm just the vessel. Take everything I say with a grain of salt and be kind. If you do nothing else, be kind. If you don't know how to say anything kind, be quiet. I'll see you guys on Friday. Bye.